Hey, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you another episode of Tasman's Foundry Virtual Tabletop version 12 from the ground up. Whew, mouthful there. In our last episode, we went over, what was it, Monk's? Was it? Yeah, I think it was this guy right here. Monk's Toolbar? No, Hotbar? I don't know. But we went over it and we talked a lot about that. I did get one question that was just DM'd through Discord at me directly. They were saying that so if you already have a thing and then you add someone to the party, does it automatically do that? So I can show you real quick that yes, it does indeed. So if we go look at Acra here and we go to configure ownership and change it to owner, you'll see that it does add Acra. If not, if you don't see it instantly, try wiggling it. That's the one thing I definitely learned. And then also, the same way, if I right click on Acra again and I do configure ownership and I set it back, I think it was limited before, then you'll see it automatically removes this. So it should keep that updated as you do it. So that was the only question I really had on that. Let me just double check. I think I had some more comments, and I'm really kind of, well, actually no, I didn't get any comments on Foundry. It was on Dungeon, AI Dungeon, that I got some comments. Just let me double check really quick though. Did I get anything on? The last one was from 4 weeks ago. And I do remember reading that. So yeah, don't have any comments to read. So let's jump right in. We're going to go over, I believe, 2 modules today that are just kind of quality of life, kind of make things easier. One of them is kind of built into the Pathfinder 2E system, where you don't even have to really do anything. So there's no use in doing that. I don't know if it's specifically for D&D 5e or if it's system agnostic, but you do not need it specifically for Foundry because it's already built into the system. And the other one, there are some features of it that are really nice and others that really aren't that needed anymore. Earlier versions of Foundry, you probably did. So I'm sure you're dying to, well, you probably know because you read the title of the video. So I guess I'm not really keeping any secrets. So we are going to go enable one called defreds or defred. So there's various ways you'll see this. DF is dragon flagon, but it's also defreds or dragon flagon reds, I guess. I don't know. But we're gonna go ahead and do the scene enhancement, as you probably saw. And then way down here is the other one called visual active effects. And like I said, it doesn't really say specifically that it's for D&D 5e or not. It doesn't have a 5e on it, but it's a pretty handy one to have. So we're going to go ahead and save that and let it restart for us. Oh, actually, I didn't want to enable the defreds just yet. There's a reason for that. I'm going to go disable that one real quick because I wanted to point some things out before. So we'll just undo that one real quick. All right. Sorry about that. So what the effects one is, the can't remember its name already. We can go in here and see it. Doesn't have very many options if I remember right. The visual active effects, that one. So it has 10 options to it. The icon size, maybe I should show you it first. So let's grab this guy right here that's the bloodied guy. So as you can see, what it's doing is it's taking any effects that are on them and popping them up here. And if they have descriptions to the effect, it will actually put it in the words right here. So if I were to, let's give this guy another, I don't know, what should we give him? Let's give him maybe a couple things. Let's make him be charmed, and poisoned maybe. Sure, why not? So if we do that, did it not do it? Hold on. Burp. I'm surprised why it's not putting it there. Can he not? Maybe he can't be charmed. I don't know. Let's try him. So you'll see it also does the auras here. But let's see if it works on him then. Let's make him charmed. That one worked. I'm not sure why the other one didn't. And maybe also make him poisoned. So as you can see with these other effects here, it's actually giving us a description of them. So your options as the GM and stuff, you can give this to the players. If we go look at our player view, you can see that, you know, if they have them selected, they can do the same thing. You can take away the right for them to be able to disable things. So like if they right click, they get this little option. Are you sure you want to get rid of this effect? Which is a little nice that you can actually do it without having to go back into the actual effects, the conditions. The other, if you hold shift and you do it, you won't even get, well, the GM doesn't get it, gets the little pop-up saying, are you sure you want to remove this? I just got to check that again. Yeah, I held shift and it didn't. So a GM, I believe, does not have to do that. And we can verify that as well. Where is my Foundry? Nope, not that one. Right there. So let's go ahead and give him back those effects. So we'll go ahead and give him poisoned and charmed. So as the GM, I also can right click on it, get the option to say it. But if I shift click it, shift right click, you can see it dismisses immediately. So now that we've said that, let's talk a little bit about the settings on this. So the first thing is the icon size. And as you can see, this is 50. To me, that's really big. I usually don't even, I mean, like I said, I don't really even play with this one much, but because I've gotten used to it in Pathfinder, it's kind of nice to have it also in other systems. So let's just, I don't have a preferred one, but let's try and just do it to 40 and see what that does. The font size is talking about in here, and the top offset is how many pixels from the top it is there. So this isn't a 16 font in like Microsoft Word or anything. Let's try and maybe do, let's try 12. Let's hit save and see if it has to reboot. So there we go. Actually looks bigger. Does that look bigger to you? It does to me. Holy cow. I mean, the font, this definitely shrunk, but man, that font is huge. Let's go back to 16 and see what that does. Maybe it was just maybe it's the same. And maybe they're talking about the font inside when there's a description. Maybe that's what they're talking about, is this font down here. So let's try it once more, because maybe you can't actually do the other font. So let's change this back to 12 and say save. Yes, that's definitely changing the font there, not that upper one. So I guess you can't really change this one, but you can definitely change this one to a nice small one if you want. And you can shrink these. That actually is a decent size if you ask me. 40 seems pretty good, because they're still big enough you can actually see the icon inside. 50 seemed a little large. So we can hide disabled effects. So various effects on your character. Some of them might be something that, you know, is a ring that if it's disabled, you don't show it. So you could do that. Hide passive effects. Technically, this is considered a passive effect, I believe, because it's just running in the background. If we actually went and look at him, I believe if we go to his effects, this is, well, there's his passive effect right there, Savage Attack. So I was wrong. This is an active effect still. It's just temporary. So the default is to hide passive effects, but if you want to see those as well, then you can do that. Allow player interaction. This is what allowed the players to actually be able to do the same things as I can by simply getting rid of it. Now this last part, I'm not exactly sure what on earth the defaults are. I imagine if you have some kind of timing modules in here, like about time or something like that, maybe it'll use it. But even in D&D 5e, it's a 10-day. It's not a 9-day week. And I don't know that 3 weeks in a month and 12 months per year, and then 1 extra day per year. I'm not exactly sure where these numbers come from, but I really don't use them where they're going to be longer than minutes or something like that. Usually effects don't last that long. So there you go. That is that module right there. One really cool thing is, even though this hunter's mark is the one that we did with our token color marker, I think is what it's called. We actually did that one. It actually registers that as well. It doesn't have a great description of it, but that's okay. It does let you know really quick that that's what's going on there. All right, so this next module, which is the defred's scene enhancements, some of the things I wanted to point out, one that is the same is it's the same, but older versions of Foundry, when you clicked on these or activated these, like if we have a guy here, we click on it, you'll see that's nice and bright. And it used to be where it's barely visible, the change between active and inactive. So the scene enhancements does do that. The other things I wanted to show you about that one is if I go on to my character here, actually I don't need to do that because I can do this. If I'm going to do a weapon attack, what I wanted to point out here is that all my buttons are just gray. And when I mouse over it, we get this little red effect on them. So remember that. The other thing, was there another thing? The other thing yes, there is actually another thing that I wanted to point out here is if you look at it's probably in here. Well, not a good example because I don't actually have any folders in here, but let's create a folder real quick. We'll just call this players maybe. So we're going to create a players. So it used to also be in Foundry where you could not change the actual folder color. Now we actually have the option, which Dragon Flagons or the DF Scene enhancement also gave us that ability to actually change the color of the folder. So if we do something like that, and then we can also say, is it automatically sorted alphabetically, or is it just wherever I drag and drop? Usually I leave it alphabetic, but we'll just set it to manual just to show you. Oh, I didn't hit enter on that color, did I? Edit folder. Actually, I did. I just wasn't looking up here as much. That was a cool color too. All right, let's just do that. So as you can see, that is our color. Now, one thing I'd like to point out here is that the font color is not an option. So that becomes an option with the scene enhancement, which I'm not exactly sure why, because technically it's not really a scene that we're enhancing here. Oh no, these are the quality of life is what I'm thinking of, not scene enhancements. Sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong module. Quality of life, now it makes sense. So it's not the scene enhancement we're going to go over today. That's another day. We're going over quality of life. I'm sorry. I just looked at my notes and noted that. So I'm going to hit save on that, and we'll go look at these quality of life things. So one of them that I mentioned is that the little purple, when we use that like this, it used to be almost not even noticeable when you change it. If I click on a character and do it, you'll see it's nice and bright, which is how it was before. However, one cool thing here is just to make advantage, disadvantage stand out a little more. If we click attack, you'll see now we have a green box around advantage, a red box around disadvantage, and a reddish glow around the normal. And when I mouse over the other two, we can actually see that, we get that little effect there. So there's that. Then also we can now go into our folder here. If I hit right click and edit folder, now you'll see we also have text color. So I can come in here and say, the white, it's still visible. It looks okay, but maybe I want it to be maybe a darker blue or something like that. And if I update folder, now you can see I have that. Not the best combination, but you get what I'm saying. So let's talk about some of the other things that the I keep saying quality of life, not scene enhancement. Dang it. Some of the other things this allows you to do is, for example, we have our players here. You can actually, when you right click on a player, now we have a new icon. We have this little lock. And this will allow you, let's say Seraph here. Actually, let's have Merrick. He gets rooted. He gets where he can no longer move, whatever, paralyzed or whatever. We can click on this, and now that character is completely frozen. He cannot be moved at all. So here I am on the player, and I'm trying to move, and it just says, oh, it's paused, darn it. Unpause. I hope this works. I didn't actually test this one. So, yeah, okay, there we go. Whew. Trying to move it, it's not moving at all, but I can still move my other guy. So it's a good way of locking tokens that you don't want moving. Say you have a player that, while you're trying to read description, is infamous for running around and being all nosy and stuff. You can lock that individual token where everyone else is good or whatever. I try not to segregate my players like that. So I probably would only use it like if they're rooted, just to help them remember that they're rooted and they can't move. So that's one of the things that are in here. It doesn't actually have a little animation that looks like it's unlocked when it's locked. It just has this little orangish border around it when it's active. If we click it again, it goes away. So that is that. The other thing is kind of nice about this module. I don't know if we have any roll tables. Of course we don't. Let's create a quick roll table. Let's just say direction. We'll just have a roll table called directions. So we get this little die here, which gives us the option to actually, we'll just, I need one more. So as you can see, we have those. We'll just say north, south, east, and west. So the cardinal directions there, we can hit update. So one thing you normally had to do is you had to come in here, and then you had to scroll to the bottom if there's a bottom, and then you'd click roll, and then it would actually roll it, and you could see it in chat here. With this module, you can now actually just click right here and it just rolls it for you. It doesn't have to do the little animation, so it's just going to do it really quick. You also have the option of right clicking it and saying roll right there. So you can actually roll it those different ways, but it's kind of nice to be able to come into your roll tables, especially if you have a really big one. If you have a really big roll table, then you have to like scroll all the way to the bottom of this, and then finally these buttons will show up. I guess I could show an example. Whoops. Maybe I can't show an example because this is going to hop every time, isn't it? There we go. It's not now. I'm just going to go add a whole bunch just so you can see what I mean. So as you can see, even right now, if I wanted to go in there, I have to scroll all the way down to everything. So that could be really annoying. That's where this comes in super handy with lots of, wow, I'm surprised we actually got one of the 1d4 ones. Oh, it still is a 1d4. It doesn't actually change that number. I didn't know that. So there is that little quality of life tidbit thing. We already went over the folders. This is one that I don't actually use with it, but I'm going to show you it so you can see that it's there. If trying to remember exactly where it is, if I think we're creating an actor and we say it's a vehicle, we'll just leave it in. Oh, we'll put in players just so it's a little easier to find. We'll say maybe car or something. So when we get in here, I think it is under sheet, we have these other options that we can choose from, such as the weight of tonnage. So how, really, I don't know how specifically I would use this, but this is kind of showing, what kind of weight measurements for weight calculations it might use. So I've never really used vehicles, but it does give you, I think it might only be this part right here. And then I think also in here or somewhere, maybe when you start adding stuff, might be in here, it actually will show you that tonnage information. Maybe is this it? This ton might actually be this one, the cargo capacity. And I think like so short, if we say long ton, now it's L ton. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with vehicles in D&D 5e, but that is one of the quality of life things it does. Another one, and this is kind of nice for your players and for you, is just to make it so the transition from day to night, usually when it's happening, I don't know, do I have a scene in here? I have a region map, maybe. Oh yeah, I do have a region map. Maybe, let's do the region. No, the region map is global. Maybe this one? I'll see if it works. So when you change the day to night, so right now I think we're at daytime, but if we were to change this to night, we actually get this nice little pop-up bar. And if I'm quick enough, you can see I'm on. I didn't lock that scene, so it's probably not going to do it now. We'll do it again in a second. So I'm going to pull everyone to the scene by activating it. And let's go ahead and make it day and see if that, I thought it showed it on the players as well. No. All right. But anyway, it gives you this nice transition. So you, as the GM, have an idea of how long the day-night transition, how long it's going to take it to do that. You can also, in the settings, we'll go through all the settings in a minute, but you can also, in the settings, I believe, set how long that generally takes. So if you want it to be kind of a nice gradual thing, if you have lights set at different levels and you have a nice city scene or something like that where lights just sporadically come on here, whoops, I hit my mic, here and there, then you might want to actually, have it be a little slower so they can enjoy that. And I think that might actually be all the things that I can think of. So let's go look at the settings real quick for that one. Wrong area. Wrong gears. And we'll just talk about those real quick, and then I think we will call it good. So here's our quality life. So enable roll table menu, that's obviously the little die that appeared up there. If we want the quick roll, or if you have to right click and stuff. Enable the text color for folders, obvious on that one. Enable better scene control, control toggle highlight, which I believe is these guys that we were lighting up over here. I do that, this thing. Don't know why that's, let's see, changes the scene control so that when the purple toggle buttons are turned on, it's more visible. Yeah, that's this one, but that's not necessarily the scene stuff. Although I guess all this is disabled when you're not in a scene. So maybe that's what it's talking about. Then we have, do we want to display the transition? Is this for players or just GM? Looks like GM, but here's the part I was talking about. You can change how long that actually takes. You can have it be 10 seconds all the way up to a full minute. Probably not recommending a full minute. 10 seconds, plenty of time if you ask me. Enable better default attack buttons. That's the highlighting, making the red and the green buttons on our advantage and disadvantage. Enable unit weight for vehicles. We kind of know what that is. Token locking enabled, so that's where you can lock the token. Then token locking ignore GM. That's so that even if token's locked, GM can move it if they want. So those are pretty much your options. Let's go ahead and activate this one again. I don't think I left him. Yeah, I didn't leave him locked. Didn't want to leave him locked. All right, so I think that will do for this episode. We're at 24 minutes, so we're maybe a little further than I wanted to be, but hey, we got in 2 modules that time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Click that little notification bell. Join my Discord channel. Tell other people about my YouTube channel. And check it out if they like what they see. They can sub. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.